In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made. Sister Wendy.
Sister Wendy Beckett is a Catholic nun whose passion for art has made her a television celebrity.
What I want them to pay attention to is the art.
Born in South Africa
Studying at Oxford.
and educated at Oxford, Sister Wendy has, for almost 30 years, lived a life of solitude on the grounds of a monastery in England. The BBC discovered her talent for making art come alive on TV. Her latest series, The Story of Painting, airs on PBS.
People to the art.
Sister Wendy was in America recently, and Bill Moyers interviewed her at the Morgan Library in New York City.
Have you been struck, as many of us have been, by the paradox of a nun who's lived a contemplative life becoming a television star?
Yes, it's bizarre. It's the kind of thing only God would do.
God? Or a good television director?
No, because if I say God set up the conditions under which I felt I ought to do it, I'm speaking obviously metaphorically. But when one has had this blissful privilege of living in solitude, to feel one ought to give it up, even temporarily, for short periods, it's a strange thing to have asked of one, and that's what I meant. I feel that it's right that I should do it, but it's not a thing that I would ever have wanted to do.
Had you ever watched television before you were on it?
No.
Not even a furtive glance at over your shoulder at someone else's set?
Well, where would I see their set?
There's none in the
No.
monastery? So what did you think when the lights came on and the camera was there? Did anyone tell you what to do?
Well, no, it was perfectly simple, because I was talking to the camera and the cameraman and explaining it to them. And I was often very encouraged by the reaction of the assistant cameraman, whose face would light up, and I knew I was getting my point across. I've never found any difficulty in talking to a camera.
You didn't have a script?
No. No, I don't feel it's right to have a script, because the spoken word is different from the written word.
And you just stepped in front of the camera and talked?
Yes. When I started, they say, "What are you going to say?" And I said, "Wait and see." "Well, can't you give us some hint of what you're going to say?" And I said, "Oh no, that would spoil it. It would take all the edge off if I've done it once." And I didn't know that I was asking them to make a great act of faith.
How did the BBC discover you?
Well, I think it happened. I'm not sure about this, but I think it happened through my writing for magazines, which a very intelligent young researcher read and thought, she writes simply. She can communicate her ideas clearly and with a bit of sparkle. Perhaps she'd be good on television. And he asked if he could come to the monastery and see me. And then he went back and told the producer, who was making the film on the National Gallery, Sister Wendy would be very good in that film. And the producer said he was having no nuns in his film. And the young man persisted until finally, just to kind of, I think, to keep him quiet, the producer agreed that I could be brought up to London and they'd go around the National Gallery with me. And I thought it would be quite good to explain to people the things I liked about the National Gallery. So I did go up. And I didn't know you were supposed to be rather in awe of television producers. So in my bossy way, I sort of took over and took them around and talked about various works of the National Gallery and said, no, that was no good, and trivial art over there, but this. And they thought this might work.